Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. New Balance is pretty much the only company left in the United States that manufactures shoes in the United States. And they had been bidding for a contract to provide tennis shoes or shoes to the military. And we're told basically, hang on, we'll get you, you'll be in the mix. And then the DOD, there's this whole long, we went through this a couple of weeks ago, kind of complicated thing about how it came in and it came out and all that. But the bottom line is that, they're competing with Nike and Asics and Adidas and other companies that make their shoes overseas. And, we still have at law this 1935 law called the Buy America Act, which says that the federal government has to source everything it buys. The federal government represents about, 17, 18% of the economy from American suppliers. Now, the law also provides for the executive branch to issue waivers when necessary. And in the 1980s, the Reagan administration began giving out these waivers as if they were water. And every administration since then has continued to do that. And so now if you walk into government offices, instead of seeing desks made in the United States, they're made in China. The computers are made in China. And the shoes are made in Vietnam or Malaysia or wherever. And, this is getting kind of sticky. And so anyhow, we have on the line with us Bryan Riley. He's the J. Van Andel Senior Analyst in Trade Policy at the Heritage Foundation. Heritage.org is the website. You can tweet him at Riley, R-I-L-E-Y, 4, freedom. And Bryan, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Tom. Good to be here this afternoon.
Good to have you with us. You say that New Balance, saying that they should be the exclusive supplier or even a major supplier of shoes to the military because they manufacture in the United States, is a, quote, classic case of free trade versus protectionism. I guess I would agree with that. I don't see what's wrong with protectionism.
Well, at least we're half in agreement, so that's a start. The problem I have is if you look at it, Tom, from the perspective of the recruits, I think they're better off if they decide what shoes are best for them. New Balance, great shoes. If you find one that fits your running style and your foot and you like it the best, that's fine. But if there's another brand of shoe that happens to be made in another country, but you prefer it, whether it looks better, feels better, is better biomechanically, then you ought to have the freedom, if you're a recruit, or if you're a consumer and you go to a shoe store, of buying that and not having the government say you can have any shoe you want as long as it's a New Balance, or as long as it's to be more specific, as long as it's a shoe manufactured in the United States. I think
freedom sounds so nice, Bryan, and I know you guys love to use the word freedom and liberty a lot. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm sure you know this, a significant number of people who are in our military because there was no economic opportunity. They couldn't find a decent job. It was basically the last job of choice. Jefferson famously said, "I hope I shall never live to see the day when my fellow countrymen will be willing to be shot at for a sixpence." Well, here we are right now. And by suggesting that somehow having the freedom to buy shoes, and they're not even necessarily cheaper because, this is how Phil Knight made $5 billion, right? Manufactured overseas and selling, a $3 pair of shoes and selling it for $100 here with Nikes, or whatever the prices are. But if their families had decent jobs because our trade policies were protectionist and we were manufacturing all our shoes in the United States like we did before the Reagan administration, like we did before these free trade deals, half of them probably wouldn't need to be shot at for a damn sixpence. And the other half of them would have families who were making enough money and the economy would be strong enough that they'd be able to afford to pay a little extra for shoes made in the United States.
Well, you look at a company like Nike, and we talk about their shoes imported from Vietnam or China, the various places they manufacture them. Nike employs a lot of Americans, though. So what we tend to have are the design jobs, or if you look at an iPhone, we have the engineering jobs, and the less glue it together jobs are done in other countries. Or the job like my grandmother used to have in Missouri of sewing shoes together. We don't have a lot of those jobs anymore.
No, and we should. Right. We should have those jobs here. And by the way, an iPhone has more parts manufactured in Germany than it does in China. And in Germany, the average wage is $54 an hour.
But a lot of the value of an iPhone or a lot of the value of a T-shirt that's made in another country goes to the people who designed it, whether they're in California or whether they're on the fashion district.
No, it's not going to the people who designed it. It's going to the stockholders of the corporation that hired those people, that exploited that labor and then took that profit so that the stockholders could become billionaires.
Well, I think what we're doing a good job of in the U.S., and we've got lots of room to improve, and absolutely agree with you. I think in terms of we need a good education system, need to train people to have good jobs, so they have as many options as possible.
I think you got it backwards, Brian. You don't train people for in the hopes that they're going to get a good job. I mean, look, I remember maybe 10 years ago. You probably do too. When Marriott was advertising, as I recall, it was Marriott, the fact that a third of their bellmen had college degrees, and they thought that was like really cool. We're a really classy joint, And what it says to me is, people can't get even with a college degree, they can't get the job that they hoped for. And it's because our jobs are gone. We went from manufacturing being about a third of our economy when Reagan came into office down to about 20% of our economy by the end of the Clinton administration. Now it's 11% of our economy. No industrial power has ever survived over the long term with manufacturing less than 15% of their economy. We can't make missiles. We can't make warships. We can't make satellites without parts that we have to buy from China, a country that has expressed a willingness to engage in open hostility with us. That's crazy.
Well, if you look at the flip side of the numbers, I mean, for manufacturing, for example, U.S. manufacturing output's never been higher. So the rest of the economy, other sectors are growing faster, but we have more manufacturing output in the U.S. than we ever have, 50% higher than when NAFTA was passed, for example. Now
we have a larger population. We have robotic productivity. Yeah, there's more stuff being made. We're really, really good at making weapons. We're selling hundreds of billions of dollars worth of weapons all around the world. Yes, I don't disagree with you, but those are not the manufacturing jobs. I mean, that's one segment. But it's the segment that has exploded since the Reagan administration, since Reagan brought us 93% of a $17 trillion debt. But the real, I mean, the stuff that we buy every day, the shirt I'm wearing was made in Malaysia. The jeans I'm wearing were made in Vietnam. The camera I'm looking at right now was made in Japan. I don't think anything in this studio was made in the United States. And I try to buy things made in America. This should not be, Brian.
Well, I don't think the government should force you to say, hey, listen, you can only buy.
The government doesn't force you. What they do is they establish tariff policies that okay, if you don't want to, if you want to make something in China and bring it into the United States, when you bring it into the United States, you're going to pay a 30% tax to make up for the difference in cost of labor.
Well, if you look around the country, we've got about 6 million people who are employed by subsidiaries of foreign-owned companies. Like
which means the profits are all leaving our country.
Well, but they pay the wages to people working.
And they're paying crappier and crappier wages because they're increasingly building factories in the South where they're paying people $15 an hour instead of the 30 or 40 that they used to pay in Union states.
Well, see, so I think this idea that we should keep out the foreign-made products, we should keep out the foreign investment, I just disagree that that's the right policy. And if you look around...
Then why did it work so well from 1930 to 1980 or 1990?
One reason we're so prosperous in the United States is we have a 50-state free trade area, and each state is people are free to import or export with other states without some government official getting in their way. I think that's what I would like to see expanded worldwide.
I'll leave you with that. You get the last word. Bryan Riley hang on just a second.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Bryan Riley with the Heritage Foundation. You can tweet him at Riley for Freedom, and heritage.org, of course, is the article or the website. Thank you, Bryan.
Thanks, Tom.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here, and please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.